Hello everyone, welcome to this internally screening video on Oscar predictions. My name's Adam.
My name's Rupert.
And today we are discussing the nominations for this year's Oscars, coming up very shortly in a few days. And we thought we'd throw our hat into the ring to see if we could predict exactly what's going to win some of the more significant categories. The ones we'll be discussing will be listed here. And we'll discuss our favourites for each category, as well as what we think the committee will be most likely to pick for each category. And I'm sure along the way we'll be airing various grievances about what some of those picks may end up being.
I'm just looking forward to the controversy. I don't give a shit about what wins.
Yeah.
I just want something weird to happen.
Okay.
Because it happens every year.
Yeah.
I just don't think they're ever going to beat the Moonlight year.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah.
I mean, they're never going to top that.
And they're also never going to top the year where Parasite won a bunch of shit. Because that was the one time they got
I'm not
right.
rooting for anything that hard. So this is one of my least invested years in the Oscars, sadly.
That's fair enough. Well, I guess we'll go right into it then with Best Animated Film to start us off. So nominations for Best Animated Feature are Encanto, Flea, Luca, Mitchell's vs. the Machines, and Raya and the Last Dragon, or Raya, depending. I can't remember.
Are we going predictions first?
No, we'll go with what you want to win first.
Okay, what I want to win in this category is pretty easy. It's Flea.
Okay.
I guess it's funny because I actually think it has the weakest animation out of the lot, but to me it's by far the best film.
Yeah.
It will definitely be a Disney film because I think the Oscars are aired on a Disney-owned network.
Something like that.
So it will probably be Luca, Encanto. I think it will be Encanto.
Okay. Well, I'm with you in terms of saying that Flea is the best film out of these. In terms of it being an animated feature, I guess for those that aren't familiar with Flea, it's a documentary, stylized. And
it's nominated
animated
for 3 different film categories,
including best documentary, and I think it's certainly a more logical.
It must be a first.
Yeah, it must be. Yeah,
to be animated, international, and documentary.
Oh, for sure. There's no way anything's ever done that before. In terms of pure quality, I would agree. Flea would be what I would want to win, but I also quite, of the more conventional picks, I think Encanto is the best of the rest, if you know what I mean.
It's best of the rest. I still, actually, I think I might prefer Mitchell's and the Machines to Encanto.
Yeah.
Mitchell's and the Machines, especially if you're talking about like an animated film, I think it's a more interesting use of animation. It's a bit more stylish, and even though it's not a perfect film and there are some issues with it, I did find it genuinely quite wholesome. And I know all of these films are wholesome, really, including Flea, despite how dark it is. I think the Mitchells and the Machines felt the most genuine to me. And Encanto was nice, but it didn't really stay with me in the way Disney films often do. So.
Yeah, no, I will say in terms of like Disney musicals, it's not as strong as a lot of the other sort of ones that have come out recently. I don't think it's as strong as Frozen, Moana, or Tangled.
Tangled is fire.
Yeah, so I mean Encanto, but I don't know. I just felt like a stronger connection to that than I did with Mitchell's and the Machines, because Mitchell's vs. the Machines, while very bright and entertaining in terms of its visuals, and very, I'd say, kind of experimental in the same way that something like Spider-Man, Spider-Verse was. Same, producers involved and all that. I did just find that the humour of it was kind of a bit grating at points. Like 50% of the time I laughed and 50% of the time I cringed.
Yeah, but at least it made me laugh, whereas Encanto, I was kind of sat here like, blank face to the screen. It wasn't a bad film. I'm just saying, I think Encanto will win.
I think Encanto is the strongest shout.
I would love for Flea to win, and I think Flea is not completely out of its I don't think there's no chance that Flea doesn't stand a chance, because it's very Oscar-y material. It's
true.
about a gay man. He's an immigrant, and it covers loads of really serious topics. So it feels very of the time. So I'm hoping that gives it a small chance of winning, but yeah, I don't think it will. I think it will go to Encanto.
And I think Luca and Raya and the Last Dragon don't even deserve to really be discussed.
No, but unfortunately I still think they're actually also in the conversation. I think this is, in terms of likelihood of winning, a pretty evenly matched category, except for Flea, which is probably the least likely to win.
Just because there's so much Disney, isn't it? So, yeah. And next we move on to Best Adapted Screenplay. Okay, so the nominations for this are Coda, Drive My Car, Dune, The Lost Daughter, and The Power of the Dog. Rupert, which do you reckon of those is your favourite?
Oh, it's a really hard one. Power of the Dog is nominated for loads of things, which means it's not going to win them all. And I think... Okay, let me cross them off the list. The Lost Daughter is not going to win because it's a Netflix film.
Okay.
Dune is not going to win
because it's a sci-fi.
Because it's fun. I think it comes down to Drive My Car and Coda.
Okay.
And I can see... I think I'm actually going to predict that Coda wins, but I think Drive My Car should win.
I am going to shamelessly echo everything you said there.
Okay.
I think Drive My Car is a beautifully written film. It's incredibly nuanced, and I think something that might give it an edge is its inclusion of so many languages, such like a multicultural film.
Yeah.
Not only being, the foreign pick, but also
a film about foreign languages.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that makes it incredibly unique, and as an experience, it's incredibly gratifying. But again, appealing to Oscar-y people. 2
films this year with sign language.
Yeah, exactly.
Just consider that. I think, to be fair, while I'm not actually going to be mad at any of these winning, I think they're all really well written films.
Yeah. It's a good category. Actually.
It's actually a very good category. I think Dune is the least likely to win. But pretty much, and to be fair, it would probably actually be my last pick, because what I like about Dune so much isn't really the screenplay. It's a good screenplay, especially when you consider, and if you were looking at it as adapted category, as in the challenge faced by what it had to adapt, then Dune should absolutely blow all these out of the water.
That's a very good way of looking at it. Yeah, if it depends if they do look at it with that level of
I don't think that's going to be it, and I think The Lost Daughter is probably a bit too divisive, even though I think it's very well written. I think The Power of the Dog's got a really good chance. I think Drive My Car's got a really good chance, but I think Coda, it's got almost a very pop appeal to it, and I don't think it's quite good enough to actually win anything else.
Right, so it gets the sort of conciliatory.
I think it will win Best Adapted Screenplay.
I mean, again, it is a very well written. Yeah, and it's very touching. Yeah, I guess, like you say, that broad strokes kind of appeal to it might lend it that.
But I think Drive My Car should win for obvious reasons. There's some great monologues in that film. The way the story progresses is really beautifully orchestrated, very patient. So I would like Drive My Car to win. Yeah. But yeah, I think ultimately Coda.
Okay.
And you agree?
Completely, 100%. Well, the next category we move on to is Best Original Screenplay, with the nominations being Belfast, Don't Look Up, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, and The Worst Person in the World. What do you reckon?
I think Belfast is going to win, and I think it's really hard for me to call between The Worst Person in the World and Licorice Pizza, but one of those two should win, and I'm edging towards The Worst Person in the World.
I'm going to say straight away my favourite there is easily The Worst Person in the World. I think it's a fantastically written film. I guess comparably to Drive My Car, I think there's a level of subtlety and kind of nuance to it that...
It's also funny.
It is funny, yeah. It has a really good sense of levity to it, in spite of the kind of dark, kind of nihilistic, and not necessarily nihilistic, but I guess misanthropic themes.
Yeah.
Whereas the Best Adapted Screenplay was a category full of worthy winners, I completely disagree. I have the complete inverse opinion here. I don't think... I mean, Licorice Pizza is decent. I don't have as much fondness of it as you do, but Belfast, Don't Look Up, and King Richard do not deserve to win. No. King Richard is all right. Belfast and Don't Look Up, holy shit, no.
Yeah, well, I actually think the drop-off... I mean, King Richard and Belfast not great. But I don't think the problem with Belfast is so much the screenplay is part of the problem, but it's not the biggest problem with the film.
No,
I think if Don't Look Up wins anything, it's like an absolute fucking disgrace. That will be one of the worst films to ever win an Oscar. It's already one of the worst to ever be nominated, but Don't Look Up should not win a single award. I think Belfast will win because it's already won like a bunch of audience awards. It's like completely beloved, and I think it's one of those films that the Oscars want to seem very relevant and trendy. And Belfast has managed to be a film that appeals to both critics and the audience.
Right.
And it's very crowd pleasing, and I think it will win for that reason. But yeah, I think the worst person in the world should win.
Yeah. I mean, Belfast is a strong shout. Maybe along similar lines, King Richard as another possibility, just because...
I don't think it wins screenplay.
No, you not reckon?
I think we'll get on to what I think it will win. But
fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're right, but I think Belfast does have the strongest chance just because... I mean, you've explained it all pretty succinctly, like that broad appeal of it, but also, it tackles again Oscar-y kind of Oscar-friendly themes of, anti-war, condemning, sort of the retroactive condemning of our cultures through a modern-day lens, and I guess also the fact that
it's also about how great movies are.
There's that as well, and. The fact that it's also written by Kenneth Branagh about his own youth.
Yeah,
I think that the nostalgia and the kind of wholesomeness factor.
I'd love to see the stats on wins and losses for films where a film has been nominated for both screenplay and film, and then compare the wins of writer-director wins versus just like screenplay writer and some other director. I reckon writer-directors probably win a lot more. So I think that's a good point, because I think Belfast, that gives it even more of a chance. I think that's tacked on to win.
Okay, wow, okay. Well, there you go. Okay, Belfast and Worst Person in the World are our two picks for that. Okay, next category is Best Original Score. And the nominations for this are Don't Look Up, Dune, Encanto, Parallel Mothers, and The Power of the Dog.
It's difficult between two.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like it. I think the Hans Zimmer score for Dune is excellent, and I think the Johnny Greenwood score for The Power of the Dog is also excellent. I think it's got to be Johnny Greenwood for me personally.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to say Hans Zimmer's going to win.
Do you reckon?
And I'm not going to be mad. I think Hans Zimmer's going to win. I don't think any of the voters will watch Parallel Mothers, and that did have a pretty good score. Encanto, that could be a sleep hit, but I feel like that will probably win Best Song
rather than score.
That's
a shout.
So Don't Look Up, I can't remember the score. So.
No, that did not stand out to me whatsoever. I agree. Power of the Dog soundtrack is lovely. Johnny Greenwood makes amazing scores pretty much exclusively.
Yep.
But my favourite is Dune, and I think Encanto might take this one.
Nah, I think it will win Best Original Song. That's my guess.
I think it might get both.
I will be quite upset if it wins both.
I think it could though. It's been done, I think.
Oh, why?
Yeah, and I think the appeal of Encanto, given its sort of South American representation, I think might give like the older Oscar voter a little bit of like a kind of a personal kind of kick of like, I'm voting for something.
Yeah, probably.
More exotic or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Encanto is just very strong musically. I mean, it's clearly not for everyone. I've heard very divisive things from.
I don't care for the music in it. I guess that's why.
But Disney stuff pulls at award ceremonies, and I just think that this is a place where they could sweep up.
Yeah, no, I can see your argument, but I'm gonna go optimistic, and I'm gonna say Power of the Dog should win, but it's tight between that and Dune, and I think Dune will win.
I really want Dune to win, for sure. Okay, so we now move on to Best International Film, with the nominations being Drive My Car, Flee, The Hand of God, Lunana, A Yak in the Classroom, and The Worst Person in the World.
So, I don't know if I can pick between Drive My Car and Worst Person in the World.
Okay.
in terms of what I would like to win.
Okay.
But in terms of what I think will win, I think it will be Drive My Car.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want Drive My Car to win straight up. I think I think Drive My Car and Worst Person in the World are comparable in quality, but I think the one I prefer ever so slightly is Drive My Car. I just think there's a certain atmosphere that it kind of just like really, really resonate with, and I
Drive My Car is the most nominated of the international ones, I think.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
So that lends it credence.
And I don't think it's got a shot with Best Picture. So I think it has to be.
Okay. Well, with the amount of nominations leading you there.
And I think it's sad because I think The Hand of God is a really strong film as well.
I don't think there's any bad films in this category. I think Lunana is probably the weakest, but I still enjoyed it quite a lot.
I found it quite boring, but I mean, I think it's nice that it's nominated.
I mean, yeah, Bhutan does not get. I mean,
it's their first ever.
Yeah, it's actually a huge.
And this
moment.
is a 2019 film.
Yeah. This one I know was selected. They tried to get it nominated for the previous year, and it was unsuccessful. So, really cool to see it there. But it's more a kind of, I think, a nomination of a gesture rather than a serious consideration. So yeah, Drive My Car was my favourite. Do I think Flea would win? Flea would win best documentary. We're not going to talk about documentaries though, I think. Yeah, you know what? You convinced me. I think Drive My Car will win just because of the number of nominations. But I do think that Flea has a chance just because of the number of nominations. But the thing is, that gives me reason to believe it will win best documentary.
It is a regular thing with the Oscars though, where something that's nominated for a lot of things often doesn't end up actually winning a lot of things. I agree, Drive My Car is going to win.
Okay, so we move on to best editing with Don't Look Up, Dune, King Richard, The Power of the Dog, and Tick Tick Boom being the nominees.
I think it's absolutely embarrassing that Don't Look Up is nominated. I don't know why Adam McKay keeps getting nominated for best editing just because he does some wacky shit. It's really fucking embarrassing. I think Power of the Dog should win. Dune has very good editing also, but I think Power of the Dog should win for best editing, and I think Tick Tick Boom will win.
You reckon Tick Tick Boom will win?
Yeah, it's got the snappiest, most noticeable editing that doesn't lean into garish.
Right. Yeah.
Like
well, no, that's a very good shout.
Because it's edited like a music video.
I think as a meme, I think that Don't Look Up will win, and the reason for this is very simple. Bohemian Rhapsody won Best Film Editing.
It did, yeah. I mean, this category is often. I don't think a lot of Oscar voters really know what editing means in any meaningful way.
It's just about what's as visually apparent to them.
But think about this: Bohemian Rhapsody won. That's a music film, and that's why I think Tick Tick Boom's going to win. And Tick Tick Boom actually has pretty good editing.
I do think,
unlike Bohemian Rhapsody. So I think
Don't Look Up.
Or Don't. So
no, I like Tick Tick Boom's editing. I have less of a stake in this one. I'm not. Editing is always one of those things I notice in the moment, and then I fail to like kind of really draw.
Well, sometimes when it's really good, you don't notice it at all.
And I think that's important.
Yeah.
That is definitely an important factor. No, I do think. Yeah, I think Dune and Power of the Dog. Dune, Power of the Dog, and Tick Tick Boom are my top picks of that. I mean, it's a very broad selection. But I think they all do it incredibly well in their own different ways. You know what, sod it, I'd like to see Dune win this one.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, again, it's an amazing achievement of having to cut that fucker down, whatever it was before they edited it.
Yeah.
So I think that's fair. But my guess is Tick Tick Boom.
That's a solid guess.
I think Power of the Dog should win because there are certain sequences in that film. The film's often very glacial and quite slow, but when it like ramps up, some of the editing and the way they cut between shots adds like a lot of meaning that you only sort of realise retrospectively. So that's why I think it should win. But I'm not going to be that mad if Tick Tick Boom or Dune take it.
No, me neither. No, again, there's only one in this category I think I would be annoyed at, and that's the one I think will win.
Don't Look Up.
Don't Look Up.
Okay.
Because it's a meme. We move now to Best Director. So we have Kenneth Branagh for Belfast, Ryosuke Hamaguchi for Drive My Car, Paul Thomas Anderson for Licorice Pizza, Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog, and Steven Spielberg for West Side Story.
I think that Jane Campion is going to win. And I think that Ryosuke Hamaguchi should win. But outside of Kenneth Branagh, who shouldn't win anything, I think it's a very solid category outside of that, and I'm not going to be mad if PTA or Steven Spielberg win.
No.
So
again, I'm completely with you. I think Hamaguchi's work and Drive My Car is way by far and away the best. But Jane Campion will get it because of her absence from cinema, and because I think the fact that there's been so many nominations for this film.
I don't think she's won an Oscar. She won like Cannes for The Piano, and I don't think she won an Oscar. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I think they're clearly celebrating her return with all the nominations, given how weird and obscure a film The Power of the Dog is. Like, it's not by any stretch of the imagination a conventional Oscar film.
Yeah, very, very odd.
By that logic entirely, I think Jane Campion.
I think, to be fair, if it was just like directing as in skill for directing, I think Spielberg would absolutely wipe the floor with everyone, because West Side Story, while I'm not head over heels for it, I think it was really good, but if you're just going based on like the quality of directing and nothing else, Spielberg probably should win, just because the technical elements of West Side Story and the visuals in it are just so
impressive,
like ridiculous as a feat. And the fact that he's in his 70s and he's doing that is crazy.
It does work. And you know what's nice? That Spielberg's put out like a worthwhile watch.
It's
so
long.
Good. Because it's been a long time since he put out something like genuinely like noteworthy. So as we say, a good category all round, apart from Kenneth Branagh. Get in the fucking bin. Next, we go to Best Cinematography. So we have Greg Fraser for Dune, Dan Lautzen for Nightmare Alley, Ari Wegner for The Power of the Dog, Bruno Del Bonel for The Tragedy of Macbeth, and Janusz Kaminski for West Side Story.
It has, if there is any justice in the universe, it's got to go to Bruno Del Bonel for Tragedy of Macbeth. It is almost objectively the best shot film here. Greg Fraser did an amazing job on Dune. Looks gorgeous. But I think the West Side Story, Janusz Kaminski, I think she will win. Or he will win.
That sucks. Because, you're right, The Tragedy of Macbeth should win. I would just like to say, not only is it the best looking film of this Oscars, but it's
probably the best looking film of the year.
One of the best looking films I've seen in fucking ages, like of the fucking millennium. Honestly, it's astonishing how beautiful The Tragedy of Macbeth.
But if Lighthouse couldn't win, then this isn't going to win. And The Lighthouse was almost equally as beautiful.
Yeah, no, that's fucking true. And that was like one of its only nominations, wasn't it?
Yeah. And it's
no, you're right. That sucks.
And when you look at The Lighthouse, what it did, unlike Tragedy of Macbeth, that was all shot on film, and they had to do all this like massive overlighting with these ancient cameras that had been reconstructed. Still didn't win. I think it will go to West Side Story. And again, it's not really like. It's not the biggest injustice, because West Side Story is very well shot, and in terms of emulating the classic 50s musical aesthetic, does an amazing job with all the lighting, like that shot where he first sees her outside the house, and that she's lit but the rest of the set isn't, all that kind of stuff, and all the stuff with the curtains and the colours. It's an absolutely gorgeous film, don't get me wrong, but Tragedy of Macbeth is unreal. So that should win. And Dune also, I mean, to be fair, seeing Dune in the cinema last year, one of the best like come back to the cinema moments in terms of just being able to sit back, drink it in, like all this like amazing like sci-fi, almost kind of arty, abstract imagery that film puts in, but also the fact that it makes it so poppy and consumable is like incredibly impressive. I mean, people are going to be emulating what Dune and Blade Runner 2049 did for decades to come. For sure. It's like a new standard in terms of what you can make sci-fi look like. Yeah, Villeneuve's unreal at that.
You know what? And for that, I'm going to say Dune to win.
Yeah.
Even though West Side Story seems like it's a shoo-in just because of the Spielberg connections, and you know, it's a remake of a classic, and it's very, very Hollywood, and we all know how much the Oscars love that. I just think that if Dune was to win anything, cinematography's got to be it.
Yeah. I mean, if Dune wins, I do think Tragedy Macbeth has been slightly robbed, but it's not going to be as robbed as if any of the other films win it.
Right,
so,
exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're already anticipating a robbery as it is. So, yeah, sad as it may be, we move on to the next, which is Best Supporting Actress. And the nominations for this are Jessie Buckley for The Lost Daughter, Ariana DeBose for West Side Story, Judi Dench for Belfast, Kirsten Dunst for Power of the Dog, and Anjanou Ellis for King Richard.
Yeah, so this is a really hard one to predict. It's really hard for me to choose. I think my favourite is Jessie Buckley.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think... it shouldn't be Judi Dench.
No.
No way.
No.
Kirsten Dunst is very good in The Power of the Dog, but it wasn't a particularly exceptional performance in my opinion.
Okay.
Anjanou Ellis, I can't remember who she even plays in King Richard. I think that's the mum.
I think that is the mum.
Yeah.
She has a great monologue, for sure.
She has a great monologue, but I don't think it's Oscar-worthy, and Ariana DeBose, I don't think so. So, for me, it's got to be Jessie Buckley, because I think when I'm looking at these characters, I think Jessie Buckley had the hardest character to play out of all of those.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm always impressed with her. She's
the fact that she so perfectly imitates Olivia Colman.
But also, no, it's not like just imitates. It's like actually so clearly portrays the same character.
Yeah.
And does a great job in showing like an incredibly unlikable, difficult character. In a very human way. I think she's going to win Best Actress one day, because I think she's like genuinely
She was
amazing.
fantastic in
I think she should win, but I think in terms of who will win, I think it will. You mentioned the monologue, and that's kind of sold it for me. I think Anjanou Ellis will win because the Oscars, that clip will get played.
Right, they love a monologue. Yeah. You definitely swayed me towards Jessie Buckley for sure. I do think Kirsten Dunst that does a great job. I think her role in the film gets minimised as it goes on, and she is definitely more significant towards the beginning of the film. But I think her physical acting in that is incredibly impressive. Like the way she sort of transforms and looks so haggard and defeated and like world weary. It's something I didn't really know that Kirsten Dunst was capable of. Yeah. I had kind of typecast her as a bit of a kind of teen actor in a way, in spite of her not being a teen for a long time now. But you know what I mean, that kind of bracket of acting. So yeah, she surprised me, and I think it's the kind of performance that could maybe get on Oscar people's side. Yeah. But God, you do make a compelling argument.
I think Judi Dench is not going to go down without a fight in terms of who actually might win.
I mean, Judi Dench won Best Actress for like one of the most minimal. Was it Best Supporting or Best?
It was. She won Best Actress or something
for like Queen Elizabeth in Shakespeare in Love, and it was like the least screen time ever.
It's outrageous.
Yeah, no, that is outrageous. But it's the sort of thing like I think it shows the pulling power of her as a name to these sorts of people. Not to discredit Judi Dench.
And she's doing an accent, and that's another thing.
She's not even good at it.
It's not a great accent. It's not terrible. It's just like the rest of Belfast. It's just
Kieran Hines is way better than her in that. As the other half of the couple. So, if you were, I don't even think he's nominated. But
for me, like if I had to pick who I'm going for, it has to be Jessie Buckley, because I don't think the Best Supporting Actress category is that strong this year. And to me, Jessie Buckley does the most in the most difficult role. So it's got to be her. But I'm not going to be too upset if Kirsten Dunst, Ariana DeBose, or Anjanou Ellis wins. So yeah.
Who's going to win? Who do I think's actually going to win?
Sahamon's cool.
I'm gonna double down. I'm going to go, I want Kirsten Dunst to win, and I think she's going to win. Actually, no, fuck it. I say, you swayed me. I want Jessie Buckley to win. I think Kirsten Dunst will win. I think Jessie Buckley does a better job, but Kirsten Dunst.
I think Kirsten Dunst is the kind of like left of field choice, which is interesting because she's kind of been doing a bit more serious films for a while now. So maybe the Academy feels like they owe her one. I guess Judi Dench does have the disadvantage. Maybe they won't vote for her again quite so eagerly because she's already won Oscars. So yeah, I think that's a fair call.
Yeah. All right. We now move on to Best Supporting Actor. Oh. Yeah, we'll do it like that. Cool. Okay, and the nominations are Ciarán Hinds for Belfast, Troy Kotsur for Coda, Jesse Plemons for The Power of the Dog, J.K. Simmons for Being the Ricardos, and Cody Smith-McPhee for The Power of the Dog.
I think that Troy Kotsur will win for Coda.
Yeah?
And I'm not going to be mad at it. It's pretty much level playing fields between these two. I think Cody Smith-McPhee is amazing in The Power of the Dog.
Yep.
Really, really great performance, really weird. I think it might be a bit too weird to actually win because it's just a bit unsettling.
Yeah.
Although that said, they often kind of go for a bit more sort of wacky character stuff in supporting role stuff. I think Ciarán Hinds actually is in with a great shout to actually win as well.
This is the only thing Belfast is nominated for where I would agree with it. If it won.
I don't think he's as good as the rest here.
I wouldn't pick him, but I'm saying if he won, I wouldn't be angry.
I think J.K. Simmons is my lowest choice for this because he left no impression on me.
I actively think he was one of the weaker elements. I mean, I love J.K. Simmons, but I did not give a fuck about his character in Being the Ricardos.
It was
he was
nothing.
100% like sidelined.
I don't even know why he's nominated, to be honest.
I maybe because he was nominated before. I think that's basically it. Like he has that kind of clout, and they pushed for it.
I don't know why the other actor in Drive My Car wasn't nominated, because he would have been a great nomination because he was excellent.
100%.
So
yeah, the younger guy.
Yeah, the younger guy in Drive My Car. Don't know his
100%.
name. So he definitely got snubbed. I guess that's just one of those supporting actor things, or one of those American actor things. Even though some of these people here obviously aren't American, like Ciarán Hinds. So
yeah,
I don't think Jesse Plemons has got a chance, and I don't think he was that notable in Power Dog. He was good. He's always good, but
he served the plot. But he wasn't exceptional in terms of being like a sort of spotlit character. Troy Kotsur, on the other hand, is my favourite here.
Yeah,
unquestionably. I think the performances they gave in Coda, the deaf actors gave, in terms of being able to deliver witty, comic but heartfelt dialogue.
He was so funny, yeah.
He in particular, of all of them, was the funniest. I mean, they all had their moments, but he was so constantly animated and like characterful.
He was a character you could look at him and you can go, I know what he smells like.
I don't want it to sound condescending to be like, oh wow, deaf people can act, but it's more just like I had never seen it executed in that way, and I was genuinely blown away by how effective it was.
And he's just a great actor in it. He has like so much charisma in his performance, and it's obviously not something like we don't see that many deaf people in films.
No.
So I guess it was kind of a unique experience to see a deaf actor be charismatic in that way in a film.
Yeah.
I think he had the easiest job of it in that film, in that his character was by far the most interesting element of the film to me.
Yeah.
And one of my criticisms of Coda would be that maybe he didn't focus enough on the deaf family themselves, because I thought he was so interesting and intriguing as a character, but every time he was on screen it was like the best part.
He stole the show.
Yeah, he stole the show. So but I do think Cody Smith-McPhee, it will feel a bit unfair if he doesn't win at the same time, even though I want Troy Kotsur to win, because I just think his performance is so interesting, and I know when I rewatch Power of the Dog,
you're going to be like
analysing it, it's going to be
much.
So interesting.
But I'll tell you who I think is going to win this category. Ciarán Hinds.
Yeah, I actually agree. I think Ciarán Hinds has got this in the bag.
Yeah,
because I don't think he's ever won.
No, and I mean, like I said before, and what I also said before is I don't even think he's nominated, which shows how much fucking research I did before this video. Ciarán Hinds is a great actor, and he is, in my opinion, the best performance in this film. I think what's his face, the dad of the family, does an alright job as well. I can't remember his fucking name. 50 Shades of Grey.
I know the guy, but I can't remember his name as well. I think the acting in Belfast is generally fine. I don't really have a problem with any of the acting.
I find some of it grating. I find some of the child acting grating, and I find Judi Dench grating.
I mean, didn't really bother.
But I think Kieran Hines embodies the warmth that the film is trying and has convinced many people that it is emanating. I think he is the heart of all of that.
He's just a great actor. I mean, if he's not won an Oscar, I guess I'm not going to be that mad that he does get one, you know, before he dies. So
yeah, I mean, I'm always keen to see new people win, even if it's.
But the Oscars have to play a balancing act.
Yeah.
We want to eventually get around to giving Glenn Close an Oscar, but at the same time, we want to throw curvefuls in there.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's how many times can we snub you, and how many good performances. You know, you've got to keep putting them out. So Kieran Hines definitely owed one.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just a shame it has to be Belfast.
Yeah. And now we move on to, we're getting right near the top of the list. We're on to Best Leading Actress. Okay, so we have Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye, Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter, Penelope Cruz for Parallel Mothers, Nicole Kidman for Being the Ricardos, and Kristen Stewart for Spencer.
This is a really, 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 really tough one in terms of picking what I think will win.
Because it's like pretty even split.
There's only one. There's two here I'm not a huge fan of. I'm not a huge fan of Jessica Chastain in The Eyes of Tammy Faye. I'm not a huge fan of Nicole Kidman in Being the Ricardos. Nicole Kidman, I think, is out. I don't think she's good enough in that film.
Yeah.
I think she's fine in the film. I think that film is so unremarkable. I don't think Being the Ricardos is going to win anything. It shouldn't win anything.
Okay.
I think Jessica Chastain does a very good impression in The Eyes of Tammy Faye of a character. I don't think it's a particularly interestingly written film. So if at the end of the day, it just kind of feels like she's doing a very, very accurate impression with a lot of makeup on.
Right.
So I wouldn't personally pick it. For me, I think Kristen Stewart's good. I don't think she's quite good enough. I think it's between Penelope Cruz and Olivia Colman for this one.
Shit, well, you narrow it.
For me, in terms of what I want to win, I don't think I can pick between.
I mean, I would love Olivia Colman.
If Olivia Colman,
second Oscar,
that
would be fucking nuts. I mean, I love Olivia Colman.
And I think actually, in terms of difficult characters to play, I think Olivia Colman, as we kind of mentioned with Jessie Buckley, they are playing the same character. I think in terms of like complexity, Olivia Colman had the biggest. The most difficult job out of all of these by far, because it's such an unlikable character with so many and she fills it out so well with all these like very believable little idiosyncrasies. It just feels very lived in. She's just a great actor.
It doesn't feel like you're watching a performance.
She's so well cast. It's just like, it's unbelievable. I think Penelope Cruz is excellent in Parallel Mothers, and that film takes a lot of twists and turns, which she gives she's always good, pretty much, Penelope Cruz.
Right.
I'm not going to be mad if she wins. I don't think she's got a chance of winning, but yeah, I would opt for Olivia Colman, but I think Jessica Chastain will win.
Yeah, I mean, I would love Olivia Colman to win. Who am I kidding? Like, yeah, Olivia Colman is my pick, but it's no win.
We've got to back our British actors.
Yeah, 100%. And just like, she's just such a wonderful mumsy human being.
Not in that film.
No, not in that film. But in real life, I just want to give her a hug. She just seems so adorable. That Oscar speech will forever live in my heart.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
She just seems like such a genuine human being, but she, not just that, she does back it up with being a genuine sort of unearthed talent. Because we're so used to seeing her in fucking like Peep Show, Mitchell and Webb Look, and just like random British TV shows. To see her break onto like the main stage,
she was great in Mitchell's versus the Machines as well. So.
Oh yeah, true. Oh, she's getting a shine all over the shop. Okay, yeah, Olivia Colman is the pick. And just to be different, I'm going to go Nicole Kidman for Being the Ricardos. I think that could win.
Because I think Kristen Stewart's got
Hollywood. Eyes of Tammy Faye and Being the Ricardos kind of fit into the same bracket in the way that they are as biopics. Where Spencer isn't so much a biopic as it is a micro character study of one specific person, one very specific scenario. It doesn't feel as broad as a normal biopic does, as Tammy Faye and Being the Ricardos does.
Yeah, but what do the Oscars like more than Hollywood? Maybe they like the royal family more, which is why I think Kristen Stewart would actually be more likely to win than
Nicole Kidman.
Because also I think Spencer is more talked about. I don't know anybody no one's ever mentioned being the Ricardos to me. Once.
Yeah, but Nicole Kidman is just a safe pick.
Yeah.
If we're going safe, if we're going Oscars,
I'll lose my shit if Nicole Kidman wins this.
Nicole Kidman, a favoured, celebrated actress in a film about a beloved actress. And about, like, I don't know, a tumultuous history. It paints her like in it paints her as a bit of a dickhead, to be honest, but like still in this kind of glowing, romantic, nostalgic way, as they do in these sorts of films. It is so baiting them to pick to choose her nomination. I just think that it has to be her. I think Jessica Chastain's isn't on the nose enough.
I think Jessica Chastain's is painfully on the nose. It's like, she's uglied up for it, which always helps, obviously. She's got all that makeup on.
And like the jowls.
She's got all of that. And it's very much, notice me, I'm the main part of the film.
It is transformative, I will say. Like,
yeah.
I mean, they do a good job of hiding Jessica Chastain in the
because I didn't even realise it was Jessica Chastain until the end of the film.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess that makes it a good job, but
I tell you what, we're not talking about makeup, but fuck me. The makeup they put on Nicole Kidman was scary. She looked like an alien.
It was
they looked like they put a skin mask.
It was horrible to look at. Every time it was on screen, I wanted to look away.
Yeah.
And I like Nicole Kidman.
It looked like they put it was like watching like Mike Myers from Halloween or something. It was genuinely frightening. Bizarre choice.
What I'd say is, I think Kristen Stewart is in with a better chance than Nicole Kidman. Here's my reasoning. Princess Diana, Marta, Hollywood loves them. Royal family, all of that, but also it's an American actress doing an English accent. On top of that, I think that the style of the film, the way she's dressed, makes it like does that same transformative thing. You know, you kind of
lose her in it.
Yeah, and I also think that again, it's got the curveball power where people might. I think it's unlikely. I think it will go to Jessica Chastain, but.
Well, I'm with you in terms of it being between Jessica Chastain and Nicole Kidman, in terms of, but I think Kristen Stewart, I think Spencer, while, yeah, it's about Diana, it's not enough about Diana. It's like a weirdo version of Diana, which is why a lot of people are talking about Spencer in quite sort of, from two different opposing sides. It's quite polarised opinion towards it from what I've seen. Because a lot of people, when they watch a film about the royal family, want to go, yes, I do love to be British, sit my teeth. You know, like they don't want to see a sort of a character study of someone losing their mind, who then, like, you know, later dies, is troubled and kind of hates being there. Even though a lot of that seems to be true from accounts, it's not what people will like.
No, but here's my problem with Nicole Kidman, right? There's no Oscar moment in that film. Not that I can remember. To be fair, I watched it and I immediately forgot it. It was like something that was stored on the RAM in my brain.
That's a very interesting point.
Whereas Spencer is like made of Oscar moments because she's constantly freaking out, and they'll love that.
That's a really good point. Well, we should backtrack a little bit, because we talked about Ingenue Ellis having her Oscar moment and that being perhaps a tip for her.
And she was
Well,
good.
what does Jessica Chastain have?
Just a lot of crying, singing.
There's one moment, and it's not big. Oh, there's the singing.
Oh no, there's the interview, which is actually the best part of the film. The bit where she interviews the gay activist, AIDS patient, which is the best part of the film. Which ironically I then looked up on YouTube, is basically them just recreating an actual interview that happened. So barely even really a credit to the film. But that's a good moment in the film, and she is very good in that. That's her Oscar moment. Nicole Kidman, what the fuck? There's nothing in that film. It's so boring.
Yeah, what does Nicole? No, it's a really good question. What does Nicole Kidman do? I've got to back myself up. Fucking hell. We'll be here a while. Roll the clock.
She says a lot of very sassy on-set things.
Yeah, it's all quite sort of small and bitty.
What's your personal win?
Right.
Who won for you this year, and who do you think's going to win?
Okay, Olivia Colman won for me.
Okay.
Nicole Kidman's going to win.
Okay.
And I can't give you a reason.
No, but you know what's going to happen, right? You can't back it, but she's going to win now. She's going to win, and I'm going to be like, why did she win? And you're going to be like, I told you.
And I'm going to be like, I don't know why. Where was her Oscar moment, Rupert? Okay, we now move on to Best Leading Actor, and our nominations are Javier Bardem for Being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch for The Power of the Dog, Andrew Garfield for Tick, Tick, Boom, Will Smith for King Richard, and Denzel Washington for The Tragedy of Macbeth.
Denzel Washington should win outright, no question, the best performance here. I think it's Will Smith's to lose.
Interesting, to lose. Do you reckon they've finally got a film there that's like, Will Smith will actually win an Oscar?
He has spent about 20 years on his hands and knees begging for an Oscar.
Yeah, but he's always put out trash.
Yeah. No, exactly. He was in £7. He was in Pursuit of Happiness. Please. I just won an Oscar.
He was in fucking Concussion. No one gave a fuck.
He was in Concussion. He was in Focus. He was in what's that other film? The really bad rom-com one, Collateral Love. Isn't it Collateral Love?
It's Collateral something. Look it up. Me from the future. Okay.
But it's on screen. He was in that film, which was like a really obvious Oscar bait attempt. It somehow failed because it was that bad. Collateral Lives? No, whatever. But. He's been begging. He wants an Oscar. He's absolutely he's starving for an Oscar, and I think he's just about good enough. I don't think King Richard is a very exceptional film. I don't think his performance in it is very exceptional. I think it's a good performance.
I think it's a good Will Smith performance, which is not.
It's an excellent Will Smith performance.
In fairness, it's the best we've seen from him in fucking ages. In a decade and a bit.
But we're damning with faint praise here.
Well, I don't think it's not faint praise. It's more faint in comparison to what's it's up against. The Will Smith's performance in King Richard is not only his best in like a decade, but is a noteworthy good performance, and it does imbue a lot of heart and soul into the real life person it's portraying, and the film itself. He is the crux of the film. Like, it is his film.
He's very good in it for Will Smith.
Yeah, which also makes the film.
He's a good. I keep saying
it makes the film feel a little bit like, well, isn't this supposed to be about Serena?
Yeah.
And then you're like, no, because then otherwise Will Smith wouldn't get enough screen time.
I mean, I would say I don't think Javier Bardem should even be nominated. Don't know why he's nominated. He's fine in Being the Ricardos. It's not a noteworthy performance in any way. I think Benedict Cumberbatch and Andrew Garfield are also very, very good, and I would personally pick either of them over Will Smith. I think Denzel should win. He's brilliant, as always, in Macbeth. I guess the reason it won't win is the only thing. It's still a very Denzel Washington-y performance. Just in a new context, and for me that's enough that I love it.
Oh yeah.
I guess it's not like he's playing some wacky crazy character. He is kind of very Denzel Washington, and I can watch that all day because I don't give a fuck. But Andrew Garfield, I guess Andrew Garfield has to be in with a shout, because what he does is, I'm not a huge fan of the performance, to be honest. I think it's a little bit much.
But that could just be the brand of film.
It is.
It's not so much his fault.
I think the fact that he's doing all that singing is super impressive, and that really boosts his chance. So I think he would be like my second pick to win after Will Smith.
Oh, okay, right, okay. Denzel Washington, that film. Okay, we're not on to best film yet, but fuck me, is The Tragedy of Macbeth a complete fucking snub?
Yeah.
Like, cinematography beautiful. Denzel Washington. Amazing.
And how come Frances McDormand didn't
what the fuck's up with that? She's amazing in it too. Everyone's great in that film. Like, the supporting cast, every aspect of Tragedy of Macbeth is near perfect. So yeah, easily and one of my favourite Denzel performances in general, to be honest. Really elevates the material, because that's the difficulty with Macbeth.
Yeah, it's hard to top.
It's been done for 400 years. How the fuck do you do it differently? And yet it is.
Decades of generations of the best actors in the world have played that character.
Exactly.
And he does his thing.
And
it's Denzel Washington.
And it's fucking great.
And he's one of the best actors in the world.
Yeah. And I really solidified in my mind just why everyone says that sort of stuff. Because I've seen good Denzel Washington performances, but this film really truly convinced me.
He hasn't won anything for ages. He is old now. He was a much younger man when he last won for Training Day.
Right.
So he could win. I think it's highly unlikely.
Oh yeah, no, it is highly unlikely. It's also like, boring Shakespeare pick.
Yeah.
I mean, Shakespeare in Love won Once Upon a Time,
Yeah.
and they got a lot of shit for it. So they're probably like, no, we're not touching Shakespeare again. We know what we did wrong.
I do also think Benedict Cumberbatch is very good.
Oh yeah,
in terms of playing like a three-dimensional character, goes on a journey. He finally gets a good accent out of himself. He's got the look in it. It's a very interesting character, so I guess it's a little bit easier. But he manages to do his over-the-top Benedict Cumberbatch thing, where he overacts, but he does it in a way that is actually quite interesting to watch for once, as opposed to just like kind of. Sometimes I can find him a bit grating, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think he's really good in Pound Dog, and even though Will Smith is going to, and it's annoying because I think outside of Javier Bardem, who shouldn't be there, Will Smith is the weakest of those four, in my opinion.
I mean, I am of the opinion that it's a good category all in all.
Yeah.
I don't have any problems with the nominations, and I don't have a problem with Javier Bardem. I think the thing is, Javier Bardem is such a charismatic actor. You could nominate him for anything he's ever been in, because he just has a certain power.
Pirates of the Caribbean 5.
You had to fucking bring that one up. You fucking asshole. Jesus Christ. Okay.
I love about
okay, maybe not Pirates of the Caribbean 5, but apart from that, my point being is that in this film, I think the film, being the Ricardos, is unexceptional. It's not a very good film. I don't hate it as much as you do, but I still found it to largely being pretty average to mediocre. But Javier Bardem has this sheer charisma and gravitas to it. And when they say in the film, they say stuff about his character like, don't fuck with the Cuban, or like this man was the most charismatic man that ever walked into the room. And I see Javier Bardem and I go, yeah, I believe you.
Yeah.
I don't even need to know anything about the previous guy. Javier Bardem conveys that in every fibre of his being. And so that's why I'm saying, like, sure, does he deserve it for this film? No. But do I understand his nomination just because he is Javier Bardem? Like, just like him showing up to the film shoot was enough.
The Javier Bardem award goes to.
It was enough. That's my point. Is like him just being there on set was enough to get. That's the kind of power he has on camera.
Just to be clear, Javier Bardem is obviously a great actor. I love Javier Bardem because he's excellent in most things, and he's probably one of the best parts of being.
Did he ever win anything?
Yeah, he won for No Country for Old Men.
Good. Okay, I was going to say.
And he's won for something else, I'm pretty sure. Okay. But he's an incredible actor. He's like a generational talent.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's dragged down by the rest of that film for me. Like,
he is the highlight.
Again, no, yeah. Like, I like the bits where he sings and plays the trumpet and whatever. Like, he's good. But I think it would be an absolute robbery if he gets in over anyone else here.
Yeah.
And I understand Will Smith winning. I'm not going to be that mad because maybe he's owed one, but I think Benedict Cumberbatch, Garfield, and Washington all deserve it over him.
Yeah.
And I think it will. So finally, will go to Will Smith. Should be Denzel's.
I'm going to say it will go to Garfield.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout.
I think it's almost kind of splitting hairs at this point because it's so close between those two.
Yeah.
Again, biopics, like, what you couldn't ask for a more beloved.
Biopics do it. Yeah, I think that's the strength of the Tick Tick Boom and King Richard.
I think the musical aspect of it will really help Andrew Garfield. So yeah.
And as a caveat, I think that Javier Bardem, while he's decent in being the Ricardos, a film that we haven't actually talked about yet, Nightmare Alley, whilst it wasn't the best film from Guillermo del Toro I've ever seen, I think Bradley Cooper was really, really good in that, and he really grows into that role as the film goes on, and it really ends up in a really interesting place. It takes a somewhat sort of anonymous character and evolves him. He doesn't. I think Bradley Cooper is just generally great, and he should have probably got a supporting nod for Licorice Pizza as well, because I think he was.
Oh my god!
I think he was hilarious in that.
Oh my god, he's fantastic in that. Yeah. That's the best bit of the film by a country mile.
So he's so funny in that. So I think he got double snubbed this year.
Oh, you're
I just wanted to throw that in there.
Oh my god, yeah! I can't believe I didn't think of that. Yeah, no, yeah. Bradley Cooper was fantastic, and again, transformative in such a way as elevating his status in my mind as an actor. I've always thought of him, again, a bit of a pretty boy, like always talented. I've never thought he was a bad actor, but I guess in a bit of a Brad Pitt way, it's easy to look at him and go, oh, he's a pretty face, and then you see him in something really fucking fantastic.
Well, like Brad Pitt, you see some films, like some of the less obvious films of his, and
you
like,
go, oh shit,
you see what you can do. And I think Bradley Cooper is just, he always impresses me. Again, I think similar to you, I kind of thought, kind of a pretty boy, kind of like, mostly there for his looks, but he is genuinely a fucking great actor. So I think he got double snubbed this year.
Yeah, no, that's a really good shout. And that brings us on to the final category for this evening. Of course, it's Best Picture, and this has the largest series of nominations, which are as follows: Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. It's going to be a hard one to pick through this and get an accurate reading because, it's an insane list, but have a go.
It's so hard for me to pick what I think will win. And it's actually hard for me to pick what I think should win as well, because there are some pretty evenly matched films here. As it would be easier if Tragedy in Macbeth got the nomination it deserved instead of Don't Look Up. Yeah. But because then I could pick that. I think for me, in terms of my favourites, I think it probably I think Drive My Car should win.
Okay.
I think it should win. I think it's the best film. I think it's got no chance in hell of winning.
No.
But I think Dune is almost there in terms of how much I like Dune. But I think Belfast will win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Unfortunately, I think it will win. I think, so let me just say, I think Coda is a nice film. It's not quite Oscar quality, unfortunately. It's too TV movie-ish.
It is a bit.
Don't Look Up is a joke. I think Drive My Car is going to win Best International. It's not going to win this, and it's not Parasite level appeal.
No, it's not quite that mega of a film.
I think Dune has a shout, but it is a genre film. I think it's a very small shout, but could maybe in a different world.
Yeah.
I think King Richard has a shout too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because I actually think that's outside of Don't Look Up probably the weakest filmmaking here. In terms of just being generic.
Right, yeah, okay.
Like quite a standard film, doesn't really do anything that special. Licorice Pizza, I think, is too weird. Although I think it's a very good film, probably one of the better ones here. Nightmare Alley, way too weird.
Yeah.
Power of the Dog, I just don't think it's going to win Best Picture.
Yeah, more likely Jane Campion will win Best Director.
Yeah, I think she's nailed on for that. I don't think there's any chance she loses that.
Yeah.
And I think West Side Story it's a remake. I can't see that winning.
Yeah. Did the original win?
Maybe.
Find that out, Adam. Cool. Thank you.
Cool.
Right. Wow. West Side Story did, or West Side Story didn't win the Oscar? That's insane.
Mind blown. These were a crazy time.
Oh wow, yeah, that's insane.
I think it's kind of weird that West Side Story is nominated and Tick Tick Boom is not nominated.
That's a really good point. That's a bit of a snub. I mean, in terms of, I know you didn't particularly like
don't
it,
rate
but in terms of, I think, as an aside, Tick Tick Boom, I think, was a film that I didn't like to begin with because it's so like aggressively theatre kid specifically in its theatricality, but I warmed to it a lot, and by the end of it I was really engrossed. I genuinely found myself really going in for it.
Well, it's just that obviously it's what's his name, Sonfeld?
No, it's I can't remember the bloke's name.
He's in it though.
Stephen Sondheim's in it.
Sondheim, and he wrote West Side Story.
No, but Stephen Sondheim didn't write Tick Tick Boom.
No, but he's in it. He's like a big element of Tick Tick Boom in terms of his influence.
I guess.
Because they talk about in Tick Tick Boom how like
they want
we used to reenact West Side Story. And then he comes in as a character.
Yeah. Well, I guess it just seems weird to me because it seems like such an archetypal Oscar film to win. And also
and
to
it's
give.
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
How come he didn't get a directorial?
Yeah, no,
that's another one.
I mean, I'm not that fussed that they didn't.
No, but in terms of the logic of, I just think it seems like such a purpose-made film for that kind of
It's
nomination.
funny because Lin-Manuel Miranda has been such a like phenomenon ever since Hamilton's come out and In the Heights have come out. And now he's done Tick Tick Boom. Hamilton obviously couldn't be nominated because that was a filmed play, but everyone was obsessed with it, and if they could have nominated it, they would have nominated it 100 times.
Right.
In the Heights just wasn't very good, to be honest.
Okay.
And I'm still kind of surprised it didn't get nominated, to be honest.
Right.
But and I think that was last year anyways. So it is weird to me that Tick Tick Boom hasn't been nominated, but I don't care.
No. I mean, it's more just that, I mean, in the place of something like Don't Look Up, it just kind of makes more sense to me as like I don't know. I guess maybe it's like you say, we've got our musical and it's the more classic musical, so let's just roll with that.
What do you think will win?
I think Belfast is a huge shout. Huge shout.
Unfortunately.
I think King Richard is the second hugest shout. I think the logic of West Side Story not winning is sound. I don't think it will win. But I think the logic of Jane Campion only winning Best Director, I could be wrong on that.
I think that holds up. I think you see that quite a lot.
I know you do.
I mean, you do get shocks like Parasite, where it wins Best International, Best Director, and Best Picture.
Yeah.
But that is, and it won Best Screenplay.
It was also the best film of the last.
But
10
it was,
years.
but Parasite was just exceptional.
Yeah.
Like it was. We won't see a film like that have that effect for a long time. So, yeah, I don't think Power of the Dog is that film.
No, you're right. I think the film is just too fucking weird, too obscure. King Richard and Belfast have that draw. Again, I can't hide it. Drive My Car would be my pick. It's a fantastic film. It won't win, as you say. I'm just trying to avoid admitting. that the film that will win Best Picture is Belfast.
I don't think it's cut and dry. I think we might, because there's so many. There's actually, when you actually look through this list of films, there's only 2 conventional films here. The rest of them are all a bit weird. I guess Coda winning would be really weird in its own way because it's so un-Oscarish in a way. Because of it's like evidently such a low budget,
but it also feels way too sincere.
Yeah.
Where lots of Oscar films feel like they're really trying to push for the nominations. Coda feels like a really genuine piece of like sort of representation in filmmaking.
What you have to remember about the Oscars is they do ranked choice voting. So
they tier it.
So, and this is why boring films often win. So
they'll get
something
middle.
that goes way up top that someone loves, but then loads of people hate, like Power of the Dog. It's gonna not get.
It will
enough points
zigzag
in the end.
between
something that consistently gets sort of 4th place will win.
Right.
So that's why Belfast is gonna win, in my opinion. And I mean, I would love to see something like June win. I don't think.
Fuck.
Yeah, but I think.
I watched all these films just to come to the conclusion that fucking Kenneth Branagh will win an Oscar for the wettest fart of a film in this fucking list.
Yep.
You bastard. What? Why have I...
It's not a good
Why
film.
have I done that? Why have I watched 20 odd fucking films just to go, yeah, Belfast.
The guy who made Artemis Fowl is going to win Best Picture.
I don't know why I've done this to myself.
I know. It's hard.
I guess in my head, you know what I'd done? I'd purposefully like put all the nominations out of my head just so that I could like enjoy all these films and be like, let's just consider them all as great Oscar-worthy films. Or try my best, depending on the quality of what I'm seeing. And now that I'm rereading all of the fucking nominations, I realise how depressing it is. Nothing is right.
Yeah.
Where's Tragedy in Macbeth?
Yeah.
And where's The Last Duel? You love that.
Yeah, I love
haven't
that. The
seen
Last
that
Duel
film,
got
but
0 nominations, and
House of Gucci did.
House of Gucci got a nomination, and I forget her name. What's she called? Jodie Comer in Last Duel would have been quite an easy Best Actress pick. I mean, I love Olivia Colman, so it wouldn't have been that easy actually. But she was absolutely fucking snubbed. Adam Driver absolutely snubbed. He was fantastic in that film, and it's just a great film. I don't know why everyone just slept on that film so hard. That would have been an interesting one to throw in there over Don't Look Up, which is just embarrassing that it's even made it this far. If Don't Look Up wins, I will actually be so happy because it will just be the funniest thing that's ever.
It will be amusing.
Yeah, but I can't. It's hard for me to state just how embarrassing it is that Don't Look Up even appears here, and you can tell they kind of bottled it because it had Leonardo DiCaprio in it, and he's not been nominated. None of the actors got nominated.
God.
So you can tell they bottled it a little bit.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Holy shit, I didn't consider that at all.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's obviously the most like of this time kind of film here.
But it's also so fucking up its own arse. But.
Yeah. Nightmare Alley, no chance. Licorice Pizza, no chance. West Side Story.
Let's be real. It's King Richard or Belfast.
It's King Richard or Belfast. I don't think June is completely out of the question.
I would love it if June.
Oh, so would I. But because it was very successful.
Yeah.
That's what you got to remember. It did hit a chord with a lot of people. I just don't think it hit. I don't know if it's hit enough of a chord with the kind of Academy voter types. And I don't think Drive My Car. I don't think it's going to be. I think Coda also could be a dark horse here. It's low budget. It's too sincere, a bit sort of Disney Channel-ish, but it does have that kind of. I don't know many people are going to hate it. It's got that kind of appeal where it will be sort of in and around the top 3 on that ranked choice.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
And it will be some people's top. I don't think it's going to be anyone's bottom choice. So
because if they do, they are ableist.
Yeah, true.
There you go. So that about wraps up our opinions on what we think may or may not win the Oscars this year, coming up very, very shortly. We will be doing a follow-up video to this where we discuss our feelings on the winners, and you can see how bruised our egos are at that point. I'm sure I will be feeling many complex and difficult to process emotions when Belfast wins. So please join us next time for that. We have been Internally Screening. I've been Adam.
I've been Rupert.
We have many other videos that we would like you to check out. And please consider subscribing and liking. If you dislike this video, give it a dislike instead. Why the hell not? James Bond reactions, podcasts, reviews, the like, whatever you want, we've got it, baby. As long as it's about films, that's all we have. But thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you again next time. Peace.